literary festivals greatly contribute in creating this aura around literature, which is both good and bad. But among the positives, it's just that young people will know that this is probably something important, even though books don't have buttons, etc. So in that sense, yes, chiefly for young readers and new authors. For instance, when I wrote my first book, I was always wondering who's interested in listening to me. And I was very grateful that there were these festivals which probably gained nothing out of inviting someone like me, but I got the platform to sit and say a few things and reach out directly to the readers. So yes, and then of course there is this lot of noise around literature festivals being tamashas, but then I like that aspect about literary festivals. I want to meet these people who don't like tamasha. It's like, why so serious? So actually, I would like to write about everything, but but what happens is that after your first novel and your second novel, there is a bit of corruption which creeps in, and I try to fight it. In fact, it's a very interesting and tricky question to me, because the whole question of gender, I was absolutely shocked by the reactions of some feminists to my first book. And then later on I started thinking, why is this kind of a reaction there, and should I be more cautious? Because when I meet people in person, I am somewhat distant, It's not as if I say everything, so should I maintain such a distance in areas like gender? But then at the same time, I feel that as a writer, you have a right to say what you want. So I'm a bit ambiguous about it right now. I hope I'll sort it out, because it's very important to me. In a novel, most novels generate their power from relationships, and I don't want to be compromised there. So yes, to answer your question, I think that writers should write about anything. I even feel that the social well-being of a writer is subordinate to the pursuit of truth. You can be vilified for what you write, but then you should still write. I find it difficult to understand how writers who are not physically fit work, because I feel that physical fitness is very, very important to writing. But of course, there have been fabulous writers who have not been very physically fit, chiefly male. But I think, when I concentrate a lot on running, most of the time my preoccupations are not with literary criticism, etc., but how to run faster and better and longer. To that end, I'm a bit of a bore for my writerly friends, because I'm just not interested in literary conversations. I like talking about athletics and stuff like that. So once you're fit, you can do a lot of things. One thing about being fit automatically is that you wake up early. I don't know how that works. Very few fit people wake up late. One sign of your fitness is that you can start your engines very early, and then once you're used to that, once you're used to waking up early and running 8 to 10 kilometers, you can shift the pattern easily. You can start waking up at 4 o'clock and start writing a book, because you're used to it. It doesn't scare you, And the whole idea of hard work does not scare you, because there's a lot of physical labor which is involved. And also endurance, physical endurance is the same as mental endurance. If you've done a half marathon, I've not done a full marathon, so I know that there are points when your body is always creating illusions in your mind to say, either asking you to slow down or stop. But once you understand the illusions that your body is creating, you master it. Similarly, writing a novel is so difficult and so long that your mind keeps telling you that, no, this line is fine, But you have to start suspecting what your body is trying to do, because the body is only interested in preserving energy. So you have to start understanding your body, not just your mind, very well when you're writing. I don't think you should read for clarity. I think you should read because, chiefly for two reasons, in my opinion. Because you're intellectually curious. You want to know information. You want to, you have just, 80 years. I'm a Malayali, so I presume I live for 80 years. But if you're a Gujarati, I'm sorry, you have shorter time span. But we don't have much time, and there's so much information. It could be about kidneys, or it could be about radio telescope. It could be about anything. Skyscrapers. There's so many things we can absorb. And then of course the pleasure, of reading. These two things. But then for clarity, I feel bad for people who read to understand life. That's scary, because you start meeting some of these writers, you won't read them. So yes, that's why I read, and I read chiefly for work, to collect material, Sometimes when you're working on a novel, you need to read a lot of non-fiction sometimes to give you the background and to get the confidence that you need for some of your opinions. Imagine, in which other profession can you just say what you want? See, blogging is not a profession. And you're paid for it, okay? So, in fact, that is the very definition to me of a professional. So that's the best part, to do something that you love, even though it's painful, and to make some kind of a commercial success of it, or to make a livelihood from it. That's a great fortune. And but your question was different. I understand your question. What is it that I love? It's just that, imagine there is only one thing that you can do in your life, and you manage to find it. And sometimes I wonder, what if I was born in some village in Bihar, same person, same set of neural, systems, but maybe I would have done something else. And I kind of try to think, is there because sometimes when I speak to some taxi drivers, so I'm very suspicious of taxi driver journalism and taxi driver literature, because these things are overstated. But sometimes I know that this guy has this writer personality. Like, for example, I agree with Naipaul's argument that Gandhi was fundamentally a writer, not a politician, which is true.